What if I told you that AI is already getting worse, not better? Now, I know this is going to seem contrary to what a lot of people are hearing in all the mainstream media, but we've hit something called peak data, which is where AI systems are now hitting the point of diminishing returns. Now, I know I'm going to get flamed by a lot of you guys on this because a lot of you guys believe that AI is your best friend, but AI systems are now being forced to train on their own garbage output. So here's a question that should terrify even companies betting on AI. If AI models are becoming poisoned with their own project of reality, and that's a quote from a huge research paper I'm going to show you, and we're seeing quality decline in real time, what does that mean for your AI strategy? Because researchers are documenting something called model collapse, where AI systems trained on AI-generated content gradually lose accuracy and reliability. And this is what we're seeing with some of the GPT 3.0 and 4.0 models. So today I'm going to break down the signs that AI might be hitting a wall and why the future might not be quite as bright as Silicon Valley CEOs who are trying to pump their stock prices want you to understand. Now, I'm an AI realist. I'm not an anti-AI guy, but we're going to go into this and dig in so that everybody can make informed decisions. Let's dive in. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Hack, we train software developers and build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, so the AI industry doesn't want to talk about what's happening behind the scenes. Models are starting to degrade, data quality is plummeting, and the fundamental assumptions about AI progress might be completely wrong. Now, I know I hear all of you guys already saying, oh, but what about all this progress? And we're always hearing about this stuff. Yeah, you're hearing about a lot. Let's talk about what we're really seeing. So I'm going to show you some of the warning signs of things to say. Now, again, I'm not saying that I'm anti-AI. I'm just trying to make sure you guys can make informed decisions. So let's talk first about garbage in, garbage out. I'm going to kind of take you down a series of articles first. We're going to talk about some of these, and then I'm going to break it down here for you. So let me switch over here to some of these articles here, and we'll talk a little bit about this. So this article, you'll notice is dated back in January, right? So this isn't necessarily a new one, but Musk has said a couple of different things. Now, whether you love him or hate him, I'm not getting into whether you love or hate Elon Musk. This has nothing to do with it. You've got to admit that his move with XAI is very strategic and that he is clearly up to speed with everything that's going on in the AI world. So again, whether you agree with him, love him, or hate him, Elon Musk agrees that we've exhausted all of the training data. So he said he's concerned we've now exhausted basically the cumulative sum of human knowledge in AI training, Musk said during a live stream. Musk, who owns, AI company XAI, and he says, indeed, he suggests synthetic data generated by AI models themselves is the path forward. The only way to supplement real-world data is with synthetic data where AI creates training data. With synthetic data, AI will sort of grade itself and go through this process of self-learning. Okay. Now, if something isn't really working very well, do you really want it creating its own data and self-learning? That sounds really risky to me. Now, other companies are already saying this, right? And the flagship AI models, they're already using synthetic data. Gartner estimates 60% of the data used for AI analytic projects 2024 were synthetically generated. And this was what came from 2024. And this was in January, okay? So this isn't necessarily a new report, but I think what we're seeing today with the hallucination rates and all of the problems that we've seen with GPT 3.0, 4.0, and some of these, and I know everybody's going to jump in and be like, but Claude 4 is amazing. Claude 4 is amazing. But let's talk about that because I'm going to talk about that a little bit here. Now, the next part of this is that there's some early sign the AI model collapse. So I'm talking about model collapse here, right? Model collapse begins to reveal themselves. General purpose AI could start to get worse. Now, again, this was in late May. So ordinary search has gone to the dogs, and this is where we get to this part. Welcome to garbage in, garbage out. Formerly, all AI circles, this is known as AI model collapse. An AI model collapse, AI systems which are trained to their own outputs gradually lose accuracy, diversity, and reliability. This occurs because errors compound across excessive model generation, leading to distorted data distributions and irreversible defects in performance. The final result, and we're going to jump into this paper here, states the model becomes poisoned with its own projection of reality. See, that's the problem here. And so this is where this came from. And this was an article, an author correction to this article was published in March 21. But this is, some data scientists who did this, and this was a fully published cited article, right? So it was originally cited in July of 24, and then was recently updated with some corrections, okay? Because they were jumping into some of these things here. But this is explaining why the data poisoning is going to be a bad thing. Now, so this article is summarizing this, right? And it goes into the different kind of factors here. And I'm going to break some of this down for you here onto what this is. But, this isn't the only source I'm getting this from, right? We're getting this from a lot of different places. I get asked, people asking me for my sources all the time. And it's a little tricky because I'll give you some of them. But other ones are just really compounded from years of experience and knowledge. Now, lastly, let's look at this one here, because most AI spending is driven by FOMO, not ROI, CEOs tell IBM. So the IBM, only a quarter of AI initiatives have delivered their expected return on investment, according to a survey found by 2,000 CEOs who are spending on this. So despite the enterprises aren't ready to give up their dreams, so they're all trying it, even though they've just half say their organization realized value. So and that's even saying value, and I think that's a really big stretch here. But as it stands, enterprise AI deployments appear quite narrow. So these are ones who have actually deployed something with AI. The survey found that just 16% of the initiatives have scaled across the entire enterprise. Where enterprises are investing in AI, IBM says 65% of chief executives surveyed are prioritizing use cases based on their potential return on investment. Potential, right? Much of this adoption, IBM finds out, is driven by FOMO. So people keep asking me, why are people still pumping this money in? And I'm going to tell you a little bit of my opinions on this why. And again, these are just a couple of the sources, but ultimately AI systems are increasingly being trained on AI generated content, creating a feedback loop that researchers call this model collapse. Now, that study that I was showing you found that when AI models train on their own output, they develop irreversible defects and become poisoned with their own projected reality. Now, area accumulation means each generation inherits and amplifies flaws from previous versions. This has caused output to drift from original data patterns. So the loss of tail data means that rare events get erased from training, eventually blurring entire concepts and reducing diversity. Now, we're really at the peak data of reality, right? And part of it, there's a couple of things here. One, they're all training on about the same sets of data, and they're actually reducing the sets of data because there are over 100 lawsuits right now against the major top 12 AI players that they are infringing on copyright. So these AI companies are scrambling to fight lawsuits on one hand, and this is going to actually continue to reduce that data, right? Because now they're being told they can't even train on data, and they're going to have to prove how they actually remove from their training this original data. And if it's been trained against it, they're going to have to do all that work against it. So we're going to see even worse case that data is going to continue to reduce as we see them, because, and I could go jump and find the source for you, but I've shown it on my videos here before. Facebook stole terabytes and terabytes of data out of BitTorrent and pumped these into the training. Well, then what happened? DeepSeek then trains against Meta and against ChatGPT and against all of these, right? They just are incestuous, and they're feeding off of each other right now. That's why Elon Musk said that, and other industry leaders are warning that we've hit peak data, the point where quality human-generated training data is exhausted. Research suggests that text-based training data could be completely consumed by 2027, with high-quality visual data lasting until 2060. Now, former OpenAI chief scientist predicted in the 2020 the high-quality training data was running out fast. And so this was something that was already predicted 3 years ago. So if that was happening in 3 years ago, and that the OpenAI chief scientist left since then, but with AI consuming data faster than humans can create it. Now, this is one of the other myths. I hear all the time people in my comments being like, we're generating so much not good data. This is not trainable data. Just because your Aunt Lily goes out on Facebook and posts something and says the aliens are coming to get them, that's not good training data, right? This has to be good, reliable training data. So companies are scrambling to find new sources of training data, leading to increasingly questionable content being included in these data sets. These all have to be reviewed by humans. Now, tech journalists are reporting that AI-powered search is getting noticeably worse, not better. When searching for hard data like market statistics, AI search returns information from questionable summaries. Even specifying the need for original sources, like different reports can work, but general searches return increasingly reliable results. So this isn't limited to one platform. All the major AI platforms are struggling with this. This is not just limited to ChatGPT, but they're so large and they're so trying to be one size fit for everybody that they're struggling with this the worst. Now, companies like Microsoft, Meta, OpenAI, XAI, Anthropic, like all the big ones, are integrating synthetic data into training pipelines with estimates suggesting 60% by the end of 2024. I don't have a lot of updated data on that since the end of 2024, so my guess is this is only getting worse if that was a problem then. They didn't magically just come up with some new data. Now, studies show that too much reliance on synthetic data is going to continue to make this worse and continue to poison us. Now, if your company's having problems with your data and you've got systems that aren't connected, reach out to us, because here at Startup Hack, our specialty is connecting systems to help your company work like a well-oiled machine. One of the things we've been doing is helping customers build AI agents to do a lot of data matching and pattern matching. It's a very good, powerful, safe use case of AI. There's some great ways that we can use these LLMs to power these AI agents to do some powerful data matching. So reach out to us if you want help, startuphack.com/Spencer. Now, Bloomberg Research tested 11 leading AI models, including GPT-4o, Claude 4, Llama 3, 38 billion parameters, with over 5,000 prompts, and found systematic problems. Even the RAG systems, the retrieval augmented generation, which was supposed to improve AI reliability, created new problems while solving old ones. So Amanda Stent from Bloomberg's AI research team noted that this has, quote, far-reaching implications, end quote, given how ubiquitous RAG is used with customer-facing applications. So what was supposed to be the solution to AI's reliability problems is creating an entirely new category of systematic failures. Now, AI-generated fake content is proliferating across the internet, and that's the problem. Is you've got OpenAI, and then we know the reason that DeepSeek was reporting that their numbers for training was so low is because it came out that they were actually training off the data of these other systems. So they were using APIs to hit all the major systems and stealing their training data. But now we have this problem where one creates fake data because it's regenerated or regurgitated, I like to call it. It's data. The others are now feeding off of it, trusting it as a source of truth. So high school students are using AI to write reports, and researchers are publishing AI-generated studies with fabricated results. This is where we get into a crazy world of misinformation. The promise that AI would help people, quote, spend more time doing better work, has turned into people using AI to avoid doing work altogether. And that's part of the problem. If you're doing research and then you go and verify it, that's one thing. When you blindly take something out of AI and then just fully trust it, that's a different problem. Now, IBM's study of those 2,000 CEOs that I talked about found that only 25% of AI initiatives have delivered any kind of expected return on investment. And yet, 64% of companies adopted AI just due to FOMO rather than a clear business use case. This is what I'm seeing all the time in the industry. I actually have a lot of people reach out to me because my favorite thing is when you guys hit me up on my comments, right? You can hit me up either in the comments or you can hit me up at startuphack.com/Spencer. And I love to hear from you guys, and I answer all the comments myself. It's taken me a long time, but I'm getting to all of them. But people come to me and they say, hey, I want to solve this problem with AI. And I'll be like, wait, what's the problem? I'll help them explain the problem. I'll be like, dude, you need to throw some data in the database and do a query against it. You don't need AI for that. Everybody is in such a rush to solve things with AI. They want a solution. They want to take the solution and fit it to a problem rather than find a problem and then go find a solution that makes sense, right? It's like saying, hey, I want to cut this board with a hammer. Doesn't make sense, right? You want to use the tool that's most effective. That's the reason why we still need software developers out here to help you architect good tools. Instead, if I let that person just run, they're going to try to use AI to solve some problem that's not even the right problem to solve. At CleanRouter, we learned early that technology adoption requires solid operational foundations. You can't just build on shifting sand, right? So the most successful AI implementations are augmenting human capabilities rather than attempting full automation. Let me repeat that, because one of the things that we're doing when we help clients implement AI systems is we use AI only when you need to, right? It's a powerful tool for doing some pattern matching. And I'm seeing a lot of people. I saw one person who commented and said that it's processing like 500,000 PDFs from a day. That's awesome. That's a great use case for an LLM, right? And I'm sure it's saving them a lot of man hours. Now, they didn't come on and say they fired half their company. They just said they found a really good use case for it, right? So, despite years of development and billions in investment, AI hallucinations remain a massive unsolved problem because this data is continuing to struggle, right? Legal AI systems are inventing fictitious court cases and citing them as precedent, creating potential catastrophic liability. The financial sector is seeing AI generate misleading market analysis and biased investment advice through RAG-enabled systems. Companies are hiding reliability issues rather than addressing them transparently. I recently, and hopefully you just watched this video that I did on Claude 4's system. Now, I do think Claude 4 is better than Claude 3.7 was, right? Like, it is better. But the problem, like, the way that they made it better wasn't necessarily by, I'm sure they made some improvements on the LLM, but it's a lot of the framework that they built around it. So see, what we're seeing by a shift in this market, and I'm referring to it as a bubble burst, but that means people think I'm saying AI is going away. AI is not going away. A bubble burst means that there's going to be a correction. A great example of a bubble burst is when we saw the dot-com bubble burst. But what came out of it? It was the internet. It just wasn't that everybody who had a dot-com on their name suddenly was worth millions of dollars. Same thing with AI. We're not going to solve every problem with AI, right? And so I'm not saying that AI is going to go away, but when we see a correction like this, a bubble burst, we're going to see this, right? Industry insiders are reporting that recent AI model improvements are increasingly marginal, meaning small, despite massive increase in computing resources. They're doubling the size of the servers and getting a 5 to 10% result, right? They're trying to brute force this. The low-hanging fruit of AI development has been harvested, and further progress requires exponentially more resources for diminishing returns. This is when we say AI has a diminishing returns. Doesn't mean AI is broken or that it's going to go away. It is what it is. It means the speed of the actual LLMs are going to start to decrease a little bit. So companies are quietly admitting that their scaling laws that drove previous improvements may not continue indefinitely. The focus is on shifting from general capabilities, meaning I'm going to make an AI that can solve everything and make my toast and fix my coffee in the morning, to instead say, hey, I'm going to have this AI agent that's going to use this particular model of LLM to do a specific thing. This is what we call niching down, right? We're seeing niche down of these things. This is where we start to see how a bubble is bursting, right? So this is what, when I say a bubble is bursting, I'm not saying AI is going away. And I get these people coming all the time. You're creating fear and you're creating FUD, you're spreading fear, you're giving people bad advice. I'm not giving anybody bad advice. AI is here to stay. We need to learn how to use it, how to adopt it, but let's be intelligent about it. The minutia that the Anthropic CEO is spreading right now, saying that 50% of all white-collar jobs are going to be gone in 3 years. That's the kind of stuff that's not helping anybody, nor is it even remotely going to happen, and everybody's contradicting that. The internet is becoming increasingly polluted with AI-generated content that's indistinguishable from human-created content, but a lot of it's not correct. This creates a fundamental problem for future AI training. How do you separate authentic human knowledge from AI-generated approximations? Copyright holders are increasingly blocking AI training access, further limiting the pool of high-quality human-generated content. So a lot of these AI have been generated on content that they stole, that they straight up stole. Social media platforms are flooded with AI-generated posts, comments, and interactions that contaminate data sets used for understanding human behavior. The feedback loop is accelerating, meaning that's happening faster, but it's not necessarily getting better. So we're approaching a point where the diminishing returns is starting to hit. So the computational requirements for training advanced AI models are growing exponentially while the quality improvement are diminishing. Data centers are consuming massive amounts of energy to train models on increasingly contaminated data sets. This is why we see from ChatGPT 01, right? The 01 model, we saw 16% hallucination rates. 03, you saw that jump to 30, is somewhere around the 30%. I think it was 33 if I remember. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. And then we saw it jump to over 40% for 4.0. This is an example of when, and we're seeing that quickly. Like these are models that were released, months apart. We're seeing these jumps happen very quickly. So even AI enthusiasts are starting to acknowledge that current AI systems are hitting fundamental limitations that weren't anticipated. The promise of artificial general intelligence is being quietly scaled back to a better tool for a specific task, and that's where it's great. AI is fantastic. I use it every day. I pay a ridiculous amount for all the different AI platforms, not just to test. I'm using them. Researchers are admitting that model collapse isn't a theoretical future. It's happening right now. Companies that invested billions based on exponential improvement projections are facing the reality that progress might be logarithmic instead of exponential. If you don't understand those two, go look it up. I'm not going to take this time to explain math. So smart organizations are preparing for a future where AI is a useful but limited tool rather than a transformational force that's going to wipe out all of humanity. So love to have your comments. Best compliment you can give me is when you leave a comment down below. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers. We also love to build custom software solutions for companies. So if there's something we can do, reach out because we'd love to help. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer, and here's some great information about our services.
Hi, my name is Spencer Thomason, and I'm a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology teams and products. So what is a fractional CTO? This is where you can contract someone like myself to come into your organization and get the benefits of a seasoned CTO without having to employ me full time. In today's fast-paced world, efficiency, security, and product scaling aren't just goals, they're necessities. My passion is building impactful products and enhancing organizational efficiencies through technology. From startups to small businesses, my approach leverages lean methodologies to not just meet but exceed your strategic goals. Whether it's through executive mentoring, cloud system architecture, or launching a minimum viable product swiftly, my aim is to make a significant impact right from the start. Recognized in the Arizona startup ecosystem, my journey has been about creating value and fostering innovation. I have led technology for companies like GoDaddy, SRP, and Wells Fargo and turned challenges into milestones. I've taken this learning and launched 7 of my own brands, and now I want to help you. So if you're looking for a fractional CTO who brings a wealth of experience, strategic vision, and a proven track record, let's connect. Together we can build technology that not only drives your business forward, but also makes a difference. Technology leadership redefined to fit your needs. So reach out today.